Tuesday, 8:45 p.m. An evening like hundreds of others. The TV is on in the living room. Some home renovation show plays, but the volume is almost silent. The blue light from the screen flickers across the walls. On the sofa sits Tom. He's 32, a marketing analyst, a man used to finding patterns in chaos. He's wearing a comfortable, slightly faded t-shirt and holding his phone. Across from him, in a deep armchair, sits Sarah, his wife. Between them lies an IKEA rug, a coffee table with 2 mugs of tea, and about 5 feet of space. Bzzz. Tom's phone vibrates. A notification. He lazily glances down. It's from the Photos app. The headline reads, "On this day, 5 years ago." Tom taps the notification. A photo pops up. It's the two of them, soaking wet, apparently caught in a crazy downpour at a music festival. Tom has a ridiculous bandana. Sarah's mascara is smudged. But that's not what matters. It's their eyes. In the photo, they're looking at each other as if no one else exists in the universe. There's electricity in that gaze. Hunger. Absolute, total adoration. They hold hands so tightly their knuckles are white. Tom smiles at the memory. Warmth spreads through his chest. He lifts the phone to show Sarah. "Look what my phone just reminded me of." He doesn't finish the sentence. Sarah sits in the chair, knees tucked in. She's staring at her tablet. Her face glows coldly in the screen's light. Her brows are slightly furrowed, lips pressed into a thin line. She's fully absorbed in reading some article or a conversation. She hasn't even heard him. Tom freezes. He shifts his gaze from the vibrant, passionate Sarah on the phone screen to the woman sitting across from him. It's the same person, the same hair, the same hands. But suddenly Tom can feel not meters, not feet, but a chasm between them. Between them, 1,825 days. 5 years, 60 months, 260 weeks of silence. He slowly lowers his phone. The smile slides off his face. How did this happen? They hadn't fought. There were no loud arguments or broken dishes, no cheating, no betrayals. They just drifted. Tom always believed relationships were like launching a rocket. The hardest part is the start. Winning her heart, falling in love, moving in together, surviving the initial friction. After that, he thought, autopilot kicks in. You just orbit steadily, reliably, forever. He trusted that autopilot. He entrusted it with what mattered most. And he didn't notice how it slowly, degree by degree, shifted course, carrying them into cold space. Look at their life now. 5 years ago, mornings began with hugs. They couldn't get out of bed because they didn't want to let go of each other's hands. This morning, Tom got up to an alarm. Sarah was already in the kitchen. "Morning," he mumbled. She replied, not turning from the coffee machine. It's not ignorance, it's normal. They optimized their life, removed unnecessary words, unnecessary gestures. Why ask, "Did you sleep well?" when it's obvious? Why kiss hello in the morning when you just saw each other? Tom convinced himself this was growing up. Drama is for teenagers, he tells himself, watching Sarah laugh at something on her tablet, not with him. We have a partnership, a mortgage, shared plans. That's more reliable than butterflies in the stomach. He became the logistics minister of their household. All their conversations now are data exchanges. Buy milk. Dentist appointment. Bills paid. Saturday at Mom's. He knows her schedule, but he no longer knows her soul. Sarah stopped sharing her dreams. She stopped talking about her fears. He learned about her promotion last, after she told her mom and friends. He got the dry summary. I got promoted. Salary will be higher. Cool, congratulations, he said, without looking up from his laptop. He thought everything was fine. He didn't realize that each of these dry conversations was a brick in a wall they had been building for 5 years. Another month passes. The photo reminder won't leave Tom's mind. It's like a splinter lodged deep in his brain. He decides something must be done. He has to bring back the spark. He suggests going to the movies like they used to, a late evening screening. Sarah is surprised, but she agrees. They sit in the dark theater. Tom tries to take her hand. Her palm lies in his, like a lifeless object. She doesn't squeeze back. The movie ends. They walk to the car. They used to discuss the film endlessly, argue, laugh. Now, so, how was it? Tom asks. Fine. The special effects were good, Sarah replies. Yeah, not bad. And that's it. Silence. They have nothing to say about what they saw. Their filters are different now. That weekend, Tom accidentally finds a book on the bedside table. Something psychological or philosophical with a complicated title. There are bookmarks, pencil notes in the margins. He opens it, reads the underlined lines. Loneliness is not the absence of people. It's the inability to talk to people about what matters to you. Tom breaks into a sweat. That's Sarah's handwriting. Suddenly, he realizes Sarah has an entire inner life he has no idea about. She goes to yoga 3 times a week. What does she think about there? Who does she talk to? She started learning Spanish. He saw the app on her phone. Why? She has grown. She has changed. Over these 5 years, Sarah became a different person. And Tom? Tom is still the same guy who thought he won her once and forever. He watches her talk on the phone with a friend. She paces, gestures, laughs, loud, full-bodied, head thrown back. Tom sits on the sofa feeling like a voyeur. He's watching another woman. Because she hasn't laughed like that with him for a year. With him, she's on energy-saving mode. Flat tone, polite smile. Who was that? He asks when she hangs up. Lynn, she says shortly. The smile disappears from her face instantly, like a light switch has been flipped. Tom starts to panic. He tries to talk. Sarah, tell me, what's new with you? Nothing special, Tom. Work, home, you know. She doesn't let him in. The door is closed. The access code changed. He thinks, maybe there's someone else. But deep down, he knows the answer. There is no one. She just doesn't have him anymore. He has become a neighbor. A convenient, familiar neighbor who knows the Wi-Fi password and takes out the trash, but whose soul she no longer wants to share. Anniversary. 5 years. A restaurant with a view of the city. Tom booked the table a month in advance. He's wearing a jacket. Sarah in a beautiful dress. They look like the perfect couple from a magazine cover. The waiter pours the wine. To us, Tom says, raising his glass. To us, Sarah echoes softly. They drink. And then silence falls. Tom frantically goes through topics in his head. Work? Already discussed in the taxi. Parents? Talked about yesterday. Vacation plans? Sarah said, we'll see closer to the date. 5 minutes pass. They chew their salad. The clink of forks on plates sounds deafening. Tom tries to joke, to remember an old story from their student days. Remember when we got lost in Barcelona? Sarah smiles politely, just the corners of her lips. Yeah, that was fun. She doesn't pick it up. She doesn't continue. She stares out the window. Tom looks at her profile. And suddenly, despair washes over him. He realizes he can't pretend anymore. He can't play this game of, we're fine. Sarah, he whispers. She turns. In her eyes, exhaustion. Are we okay? Tom asks. His voice shakes. Sarah looks at him, long. She doesn't look away. And in that gaze, there's no anger, no hatred, only an endless, gray emptiness. I don't know, Tom, she says, her voice calm, almost a whisper. What's happening? Did we miss something? Sarah puts down her fork. I'm looking at you, Tom, and I'm trying to remember why we're together, why I chose you 5 years ago. And I remember why. You were funny. You were alive. You cared about me. But now, she pauses. Now I feel like I'm living with a shadow, and I've become a shadow myself. We've become strangers, Tom. Just two people sharing a mortgage and a bed. But we don't fight, Tom exclaims. Everything's fine. Exactly. For the first time, emotion breaks through her voice. We don't fight because we don't care. You don't care how I feel as long as I don't disturb your comfort. And I stopped caring about what you think. Those words hit harder than a slap. Don't care. Sarah doesn't cry. Tom doesn't cry. They sit in an expensive restaurant, people all around, music, clinking glasses. And they've just opened the corpse of their marriage, realizing it didn't die today. It died 2 years ago. Nobody just bothered to check the pulse. They return home in silence. In the taxi, they sit as far apart from each other as possible. At home, Tom goes to the living room. He doesn't turn on the light. He sits on the same sofa where he sat on Tuesday. He opens that photo again. Two happy, drenched people in the rain. He looks at them and realizes they didn't betray each other. They betrayed time. They thought time was glue, that the longer you are together, the stronger the bond. But time is not glue. Time is a solvent. Time is the wind that blows sand over everything that doesn't move. They stopped. They stopped rediscovering each other. They decided the degree was earned and no more learning was necessary. And while they slept on autopilot, the current carried them to different continents. Now, to get back to each other, they would have to cross an ocean. And they have neither a boat, nor the strength, nor, honestly, the will. And now, let's talk about you. Look at the person next to you right now. Or recall your past relationships. Do you think love dies from a gunshot? From betrayal? From cheating? Rarely. That only happens in movies. In real life, love dies from 1,000 microscopic cuts of indifference. It dies when you stop asking, "How are you?" and start asking only, "What's for dinner?" It dies when you stop listening to the answers. It dies when you think, "We've been together 5 years. I know everything about her." This is the most dangerous lie. You don't know everything about her. A person is a river. They change every day. The woman you fell in love with 5 years ago and the one sitting in the next room, these are different people. If you don't get to know her again every 6 months, you're living with a ghost. Time works against you, always. Entropy is relentless. Everything that doesn't receive energy decays. Buildings crumble, metal rusts, feelings grow cold. If you don't put in the effort to climb the escalator, you inevitably go down. Standing still is impossible. Look at your phone. Are there notifications? On this day, 5 years ago. Compare those eyes to the eyes looking at you today. If you see a difference, if you see the light fading, don't wait for the anniversary. Don't wait for the explosion. Do something right now. Ask, what are you thinking? Ask, what are you afraid of? Ask, who are we now? Because later may be too late. The chasm grows every day, and one day it will be so wide that no scream will ever reach the other shore.